So, today I'm going to be talking about the early signs of teen substance use. You will agree with me that teen substance use is on the increase. Now, as an advocate and one who work with secondary school students and their parents, every year it's alarming the rate at which it is growing. More and more younger people are trying substance and are getting addicted to it, and we cannot just leave the solution to the government and to the schools. Family members, the community, the religious institution must be involved in helping the young person find their path and not dependent on substance use. If your teenager, maybe son or daughter, is experiencing mood swing, now don't get me wrong, mood swing is normal with hormonal changes as the teenager advance in age, but it calls for concern if it comes along with certain behavioral changes. For instance, losing interest in activity that they used to love doing. For instance, if you have a child who used to love to write, to sing, and all of a sudden they don't want that hobby anymore, especially when they also become secretive about what they would prefer to do, or they are dropping their old friends for their new friends. They want to change a group of friends and they don't want to tell you who they are hanging out with, and they are acting dependent. They don't want instruction from you. They become unruly all of a sudden, or even sleeping longer than usual, breaking rules, exhibiting physical changes like sudden weight of loss. Now, that calls for concern. Now, I'm not saying that all of these changes can be due to substance use, but when your child is exhibiting this type of changes, it is a time to pay attention and know exactly what could be going on. Now, as an advocate, a teen counselor and worker, I would usually encourage parents to practice open communication with your teenager. Now, that's a point in their life where they're going a lot, especially finding their identity. And any suggestion that they feel is cool can almost go for them. Practice open communication with your teenager where you can talk to them about stuff. They can come to you and you don't have to criticize them. Now, the average teenager, when criticized, can withdraw. Criticism is different from discipline. When your child understand that you're trying to discipline them in love, they will always come to you. But if your child perceives that you are criticizing them because you feel that they are bad, they're not going to come to you. They will find a solution outside, and that solution may be detrimental to who they eventually become, and they will blame you for it. So what are some of the early signs of teen drug abuse and addiction? Now, like I said earlier, this is the phase in their life where they're trying to find their identity, and any suggestion can almost pass for them. A lot of people will say, try to be friends with your teenager so you're able to communicate. Well, that may sound nice. I don't think that is necessarily trying to be friends with your teenager, but it is trying to understand how your teenager is changing, knowing that the things that affected your changes while you were a teenager may not necessarily be the same with the teenager that you have now. So you want to also look at the external factors that are affecting the changes that are going on the inside. Now, when you approach it from this point, it means that you understand your child's passion, you understand your child's interest, you understand their habits. When you know this, it's easy to spot when there is a difference in their attitude. But if you are a stranger to your child, you will never know when there are changes in all of this. So I usually would say, parent, please, or guardian, get involved in your child's life. If your teenager is surrounded by a group of people who don't see anything wrong in taking marijuana or taking alcohol, smoking, trying out cocaine, if the child doesn't see anything wrong hanging out with those type of friends, one day the child is going to try it because they don't think that anything is wrong. And that is not because they are hanging out with that group of people. It may also be that because you and your child haven't been talking, and he or she has nobody is asking questions from to be able to get clear how dangerous these substances can be. Now, some teenagers try out drug for the first time, not because they were necessarily under pressure, but because they have hung out with a friend long enough who takes that substance. And so one day they want to be a good friend and they just try it. And from there on, they become addicted. Okay, so, but what kind of behavior can you spot on a teenager to make you know that this child is using drugs or any other kind of substance? Most of the time, to be able to know is to detect, to watch out for behavioral signs. It's usually in the behavior. Now, some parents who are privileged to counsel, they say, oh, but my child doesn't smell anything, but it behaves somehow. Now, some of these drugs usually don't have offensive odor. They don't, so to speak, smell the way you're expecting cigarettes to smell or marijuana to smell. They all smell differently. And so if you're looking out for a smell, you may not see that, because there can be several behavioral changes that will tell you that a child is using substance. Now, I will move on to the part 2 of this video, where I will list the sign and briefly explain what these behavioral signs are, that when you spot them, to know that this child needs help. Thank you.